Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar, the Facebook Ads Funnel webinar. Thank you for turning up first thing first. Before I start, could you guys please introduce yourselves in the chat area? Just drop a quick line about your name, your location, and what you're looking to get out of this webinar. I'll really appreciate it. And in about 3 minutes, when the class starts to populate, we'll just fire on and start the presentation. First things first, if anybody could indicate if they could see my screen, that would be perfect. It should be a slide, deck with the cover page, Facebook ads funnels for scaling e-commerce sales. I'm super excited really to have everybody. I'm just going to drop, say hello. And if you could just just drop me a quick line, and I'll just start. I'll start in about two minutes. If you can hear me loud and clear, you could just let me know in the chats, please, and then we'll start. I'm just super excited because what you're going to get out of this is probably what you pay for courses. Even some Facebook marketing courses will not go through this. This is me going through like ours. Hi Verena, how's it going? All good. This is me going through hours and hours, hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours, on campaigns. I failed in the past few years, but I have invested a lot of my time with testing. Lots of not just testing money and testing, with my time over, the past couple of months, and I'm starting to see fantastic results in e-commerce. Okay, without further ado, I think I'm going to just fire up and start, the presentation. I may not be able to get your comments. I'm hoping this presentation goes into about 30-40 minutes maximum, and then we'll have 5 or 10 minutes of questions and answers. Should you have any questions and answers? So I'm going to fire up, and then we're going to start. Okay, right. So I've talked about the Facebook funnels for e-commerce and sales. What exactly are funnels? Most of you will know what funnels are. Funnels are basically a series of online steps which you as a marketer actually structure to guide customers through a purchase journey. And a lot of the time purchases a funnel to be like this. When you log into Google Analytics, this is Facebook Analytics, by the way, you would see people have viewed your product pages, people have even viewed your homepage. You could go down to category product pages, add to carts, initiate checkout, and then purchase. But generally in marketing, you're talking about awareness, just general awareness of your brand, creating or triggering some interest after that awareness, or during the awareness stage, you trigger some interest, and then you try and push them with call to action to make a decision, and off the back of the decision, you funnel people through to sales. That is the general concept, right? So in Facebook, it's a little different because you're now using Facebook as the awareness channel. You're using Facebook to deliver some interest. You're also using Facebook to drive in decisions. Once the traffic is warm, through retargeting and the like, and then hopefully we'll get some sales off the back of it. I'm going to go through this in detail. This is very, very, very general. So this is what a Facebook funnel looks like at the top. So at the top, you have cold traffic. A lot of courses, a lot of people do not talk about the fact that at the very top of the funnel, you should be working on a page-like campaign. Think about it from the perspective of a customer who's never heard about your business. If, for instance, they come across a page or a product you're selling, and they your likes, your page likes, and it is kind of like 500, 1,000, 5,000, and they compare it to a competitor who's like 1 million. Where are they going to? It just builds some anxiety. Facebook has invested quite a lot, into into trust in its platform, and brands tend to have a fan base of for hundreds of thousands, and also in the millions basically. So what you essentially want to do, again, or one advantage of building out page likes at the top of the funnel really is is being able to retarget or boost and communicate and pretty much promote your ads cheaper than you will to cold traffic. So that's kind of like the first stage. But when you're looking at a product, when you're trying to push or sell products, move products to Facebook, then you really need to think about like your ads, how your ads have some social proof in them, and after that how they drive traffic to your website. And traffic is not necessarily always enough. You may need to retarget, coerce, and that's coming down to the bottom of the funnel. But I'm going to give you guys something really, really, really detailed. What I really want to go into before we get into funnels are the fundamental pillars of Facebook advertising. Now, what is a fundamental pillar of advertising? I think at the base of Facebook, at the very, very base, it's all about audiences. Right, Facebook has an audience of over 1 billion people, right, across the world, and they're like 50, 60, sometimes 80% market penetration, depending on the countries you're in. Now, you have an audience on your website, and what you're trying to do is merge your audience on your website with what Facebook has, and in most cases there's going to be like a 70% match based off on traffic, generally traffic, because lots of people are logged into Facebook when they log into your website, and also emails, right, based off on when you submit your email list to create a custom audience. So I'm going to talk about custom audiences, because custom audiences is that fine point in which the audience up on Facebook actually merges with the audience on your website. And your most important, very, very, very most important asset you have when advertising on Facebook is your Facebook pixel. Your Facebook pixel is kind of like your bot, right? You season your pixel to get through to the right audiences. Your pixel is your communication between your website and Facebook. So your pixel is absolutely important, and I'm going to talk about what seasoning your pixel is all about. So you really need to get your pixel installed. I'm going to show you what to do, and then we'll get into the funnels right after when we cover the other fundamentals. So the other pillars, in addition to audiences, are your ad creative, as it relates to, so audiences is targeting, right? You're trying to target audiences. Your ad creative is what you show them, what you display, and then social proof, the psychology behind those ads. Your ads should have social proof. So when you combine these three, mastering these three, so given the fact that your audiences is based on your pixel, you know when within your funnel to execute each of these. This is your arsenal basically. Then you're up to sales success. So this is Facebook's overview of what a pixel is. You install it on your website. You create custom audiences based on website visits, and also email uploads to Facebook. You can actually, if you have e-commerce, e-commerce email platforms such as email platforms such as Klaviyo, for instance, will automatically talk to Facebook. So every time your email list is being populated, Klaviyo and MailChimp, every time your email database is being, any segment of email database is being populated, that populates into an audience on Facebook. Facebook knows, and Facebook is pretty much brewing this in the background and understanding exactly who your customers are, which is most important. So with regards to pixels, going back to pixels, these are the kind of things you must track. And the reason I'm bringing this is, at your funnel, these things actually matter. These metrics actually matter. So on the left-hand side, we have website visitors, and then under website visitors, so Facebook is tracking all website visitors, just as Google Analytics will. Facebook is also tracking visitors of specific pages. You could do that, especially like your bestsellers or category pages. I'd presume you want to, track people in your, bestsellers, and also, visitors by time spent. You could really break audiences down, on Facebook and create custom audiences. Now, on the right-hand side, you have on-site events. These are super, super, super important. You have the view page, the page view. Page view is basically every single page view, but view content is more page views triggered by your ads. So this is like super important distinction. Add to carts, very self-explanatory. Add payment info, very self-explanatory. They've added payment info, initiate checkout, search, people who actually search your site, and purchase. This is how I see the hierarchy. So you have with your pixel, this is what I mean by seasoning your pixel. You need to track all these events. People who viewed your content through your ads, search, add to cart, initiate checkout, add payment info, and purchase, right? And you notice that as you go further down, this is exact funnel, basically. This is a funnel, on Facebook. What you want to do is work with your web developers. If like you're on a platform such as Magento, you need to probably hack this, search around the internet to do this. I've done this a couple of times, helped people a couple of times. But what you also want to, a platform like Shopify Plus, and I think even BigCommerce will have these, with extensions, or it's automatic plug and play in most occasions. But the new Shopify, Plus and normal Shopify, you can get most of these automatically, just automatically set up once you add your pixel to your template. So it's really, really important. This is what you want to be. One other point I wanted to make is your ad sets. So in Facebook, you have campaigns, ad sets, and then your ads. So your ad set sits within your campaigns. So your ad sets need a minimum of 50 conversions per week for one of these events for you to trigger the a good delivery of Facebook, pixel to work really well. For you to fire the Facebook pixel, you need to get 50 conversion events from each of these events, right? So 50 is a magic word. So a lot of the time you don't just want to max, you just don't want to create a conversion campaign straight for purchase, right? You may want to consider creating a conversion event for view content initially, then move into add to cart, then initiate checkout and add to payment info, because people will take these steps almost all of the time. So you have to be very, very, cognizant about of this. So this is what it should look like in your dashboard. You have your page views, you have your view content. These are drop downs, by the way. You could drop down but obviously your page views will be higher than your view content, and your view content will be higher than your add to carts, and your add to carts will be higher than your initiate pixel, and your initiate pixel will be higher than your purchase. Okay, so these are what I just said. So with regards to like creating or seasoning your pixel, you need to track those events. In addition, upload your email list. Now, Facebook also recommends that in addition to uploading your email list, or just don't upload your email list, your general email list to Facebook. Upload the list of your customers, right? The list of your email list, and that is because you can create what's called lookalike audiences, right? On Facebook, based on that data set, for Facebook to look for customers, right? Customers that are very similar, people that are very similar to that base. So you want to be precise, when you're uploading your email, list to Facebook as a custom audience. Is really, really important. Yeah, so that's it with that. Retargeting is very important. You need to know Facebook knows who's abandoned your cart if you have set up the pixels correctly. Because if you go back here, if I added to cart and I never made it to initiate checkout, I've abandoned the cart, right? And you could create campaigns for that. Okay, so obviously with audiences, there's there's like a 60 to 70% match. It's really important, but the key thing really is testing, testing, testing. I'm going to talk about audiences, just a little more and what you need to know. Okay, so basically with audiences, you need to understand that you want to go broad. At the same time, you need precise targeting. And I'm going to take you the next few slides. I'm going to take you through what I mean by precise, targeting. Another thing you want to be cognizant about is flex targeting, which is kind of like precise targeting. I'll show you what it's all about, and also lookalike audiences to scale your campaigns. The best time when you see like your pixel is firing for an event, like say add to cart or initiate checkout, you could start to create lookalike audiences based on that, on those conversions. I think you need about 1,000, 1,000 of those of each event over a period. Is it 7 days for you to create the most optimal lookalike audiences? Once you start to get that data in, that is the time of scale on Facebook. Okay, so let's talk about this audience targeting a little bit more. So with audience targeting, I got this wrong at the start. I didn't realize that there were like 3 key categories. This is super important. There are 3 key categories in Facebook. There's demographic, there's interest, and then there's behavior. You could target people based on their interest, right? Which is what they, what they're interested in, as indicated by the kind of pages they like and visit and talk about. You could, target them by their behavior in terms of what they do, because Facebook pixels are all over the internet. So you could, and then demographics, who they are, right? It is very important. And what flex targeting or detailed targeting is all about is layering these to create audiences for targeting. If you're going, really wide initially or cold in at the top of funnel, okay? So just looking at your detailed flex targeting, this is an example, if you're looking for vegan bodybuilders who are active purchasers. So I'm going first broad, really, really broad. If you look at the top in the detailed targeting, it's still, this list, this is based on just people in the UK, and still 850,000. So I started broad that, these are bodybuilders, people interested in bodybuilders. I've already, set male, female at the top. And then people who are interested in veganism in general, vegans. And then the last one is a behavior, which is basically people who are active users of credit and debit cards. Facebook knows about that. You merge all of that together, you get 850 people who are who are into bodybuilding and veganism, and that's our audience. So notice that it's narrow in terms of targeting, but broad in terms of volume. Okay, which is very important, because Facebook needs a big data set, when you're going wide at the top of the funnel, to, go through and precisely get. Then you could start to narrow, it down once you start to get data coming through, your pipe. So with regards to behavior, these are a number of the behavioral targets that you have. People are going to have their anniversaries, cars people drive, people who actively, donates to charitable organizations. They have consumer classifications based on the country you're in, expats, finance. Facebook knows a ton. So you could layer this in after you've sorted out the interest. Okay, so behaviors are like super important. I missed this at the start of my Facebook ad journey, and it cost me, a lot of money. Okay, so with regards to demographics, what you want, Facebook gives you, if you have a baby product, you could find, parents who are of 0 to 12 months. Remember, these are just layers, and then you could say, okay, these women are in. Then you could put the interest first, what their potential interest is, and then you double down based on demographics, okay, or you double down based on their behavior. Okay, very, very, very important is to audience targeting. I want to talk about the second pillar, which is creative ad types. Very, 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 very important. You have these major ones here. I'm going to show you some examples. At the left, you have the image and video. You have photo carousels. I'll show you that. You have slides, create slideshows, which are just you uploading 3 to 10 images, and then Facebook just, rotates them like with background music, which is good. It's actually worked in fashion e-commerce. And then also creating, a canvas. On the right are the most important, campaign types that you will use as an e-commerce marketer. So it's traffic, video views. I like page likes, post engagement, super important. I'll tell you why post engagements are super important. Messages are quite new, but because they're new, they're unknown. Actually, messages are huge. 80% open rate because they set up notifications on people's phones. Huge space. The obstacles at the moment with messaging is the ability to create a bot. If you have really good bot software, you have experience with creating bots, go for messages. The only thing is that you're forfeiting your email list. This messages basically mean that your email list is in Facebook. You have conversions, and then you have product catalog sales. These are super important. You can take a screenshot out. I'd actually share this with you after the presentation. So this is one of the ad types. This is going to be the most common ad type you're probably going to use. They're called page post, ads. You would typically share a link on your, site. It could be a video within it. It could be an article. It could be to a product page. It could be to a collections page. It's pretty much your call to action at the top, your link, and an image, a captivating image or a video showcase. It's best used for, cold traffic, warm traffic, winning back, people who are aware of your brand, conversions campaign and your entire funnel. Basically, it's the most versatile, ad type you're gonna, come across. The next one is quite interesting. This is called a carousel ad. I got this screenshot from a website. These guys sell a single product, so they've tried to be very creative. But if like you're a catalog, based business, with tens, hundreds, or even thousands of products in your catalog, this is key, super key, and this will get you cheap clicks. Because what you do, you're allowed to upload 10 images to Facebook, and it's swipeable, on a mobile. And what you want to do with your carousel ads is you pretty much want to create collections. That's very, very important. So you think about product collections. Like if I was selling dog collars, for instance, I could have leather dog collars, or the best sellers. I'll start out with the best sellers that the audience is basically, what you're doing is you're increasing your chance. Rather than having just one shot like this, you're now having 10 shots, because it's now a carousel. People can just swipe and see what your best sellers are, and you could use it to test various audiences. It's like super, super important. If you, have a catalog of products, it's important. The next one is, so you can see that that's moving now. Actually, yeah. So the next one is, this is kind of like a dynamic product ad. So this is used largely for retargeting. Although Facebook will now let you use it in cold audiences, I've seen it doesn't work that well unless if you target really, really well, which might be time consuming. But with dynamic product ads, it pretty much is the same feeds as your Google shopping feed, and you're using it basically to retarget, retarget product pages, people have visited. So what I would see as a consumer is, pages I have visited, I have visited on your website, which these are probably the highest converting ad type, because they close at the bottom of the funnel. This is what you use at the bottom of the funnel. They pretty much close the sale. They're reminders, basically retargeted, reminders. And dynamic product ads are perfect. If you're selling a single product, however, you don't necessarily need to use dynamic product ads. I would say it might not necessarily be the most effective. This is new, and if you have a budget, definitely try it. They're called canvas ads. So this is what happens in a canvas ad. It's an immersive experience. It takes the entire screen of the user. The video is showcased as a catalog of your top selling products. this is really immersive, as you can see. This is Wolf and Badger. It's I haven't tested this format well, but my Facebook ad rep recommends it, so it's interesting. Where would I use this? I would use this at the middle of the funnel for creating further awareness. So this is a cheat sheet on what to do really. So you want to have a strong value proposition. You want to be viscerally communicated with the image. Use colors that really pop up. This is a link, a page post, campaign or ad. Sorry. You want an action-oriented CTA. So in your case, as an e-tailer, you really want the shop now button rather than the learn more. You want evidence, social proof. So it's really important. So we talk about like, shares, and comments. Trying to pump that up. You want a sweet and short headline, right? You want also a description below it, and you also want optimized placement, which will be placement desktop, mobile, and and all the sub placement within these devices. So social proof, as I said, was the third element. So it's likes, comments, and shares. So look at this ad here. It's got 3.5 million views. That's social proof in itself. It's got 331 comments. It's got 188 shares. It's got 561 reactions. Now, if you were a consumer who had a back slouch problem off the back of staying in your office, will this come across as effective or not? The answer is a glaring yes. It will. It has to, because it's got the social proof. So what you really want to do is you want to reuse your ads. So what these guys do is that they created what's called a paid post engagement campaign. Then they put this ad in it. They created this ad in it, and they got all the likes, because what that does, it optimizes your ad for engagement, for likes, comments, and shares. And then when they do that, they copy that ad, they use the exact ad using the ad ID into a conversions campaign, primed in for conversions, based on our funnel. Okay, so you want to create one of the first things you want to do when you created your ad is create social proof. This is a breakdown of social proof. You have your likes, reactions, you have your shares, and then you have your comments. Okay, this is for Simba. So they got 1,200 likes, 169 shares. They're a mattress company, for those of you who are not in the UK, and then they've got 169 shares. So that helps. Another thing is people start to really have conversations, to ask questions. It becomes almost like an FAQ when you optimize for page post conversions. So now that you know the fundamentals, let's start to talk very much about what your funnel should look like. So based on what we just said, at the top of the funnel, you want to have video ads, slideshow ads, page post ads, right, with an objective, or your PPE, which is your paid post engagement ads at the top of the funnel. At the mid funnel, you want to infuse what's it called, carousel images. Remember what we in the canvas images, with a link click focus or even a conversions focus. Going further, at the bottom of the funnel, you want to then, since you have an active number of people who've clicked through to your website, you then want to serve them with dynamic product ads, even page post ads if you are a single products business. Then to retain customers, if you already have customers, you could create a custom audience based on your customers, and you could serve them very specific ad offer, ads or page post ads, or even carousel ads based on maybe new releases from your catalog, or you could boost posts with with product information to your base. This is the funnel, in a general sense of things. Before we move into other funnels, the three funnels I want to talk about, I want us to go into what I refer to as we're coming to 30 minutes now, what I refer to as product types, right? You need to understand your product types. You need to understand if you're selling a painkiller, a vitamin, or a candy. Now, this concept of painkillers, vitamins, and candies comes from Silicon Valley. There's a guy named Kevin Fong who's a venture capitalist, and he was like, we divide business plans into three categories: candy, vitamins, and painkillers. We throw away the candy, we look at vitamins, we really like painkillers, we especially love addictive painkillers. Now, we have to understand that your product will not necessarily be a painkiller, all of the time. Painkillers are basically essentials. Like in winter now, you need a winter coat, right? You don't necessarily need a $3,000 or £3,000 winter coat. You need a winter coat. It's an essential, right? You have a baby, you may need a pushchair, but your customer, your segments of customers really matter. So if you have those high-end customers, for affluent people, they will need that kind of pusher. So you need to understand your customer, because what could be a painkiller to someone could be a candy to the other. So if I have a lot of disposable income, a Louis Vuitton bag could be a vitamin to me. But if I had limited disposable income, a Louis Vuitton bag could be a candy to me. It's really important. Vitamins basically are nice to have. They wouldn't necessarily enhance people's lives per se, but they're not essentials basically. So if you think about like trendy fashion, you want a second iPhone case, you want a second phone, you want just normal things that you can think about later, because this really affects the consideration. For candy, as much as Silicon Valley do not like candy, and video games will be categorized as candy. They make you feel good. You're not meant to do it all of the time, but it's candy. So candy really are treats. So if you fall into any of these categories, you need to identify which customer segments actually fall into these categories, and how your product actually fits in the mix, because it's going to affect how people react, the window in which people react to your product, especially when you've got your targeting right. If you've got your targeting precisely, people are going to react to your painkillers within 7 days. If you have vitamins, people might take a bit more time. If you have candy, there might be a lot more time to consider. Okay, let's take for instance a sofa. A sofa could be a painkiller for a brand new couple who've just moved house, which you can target, by the way, on Facebook. But it's candy if, like, you've had a 5-year-old sofa and you're just shopping around for a sofa, okay? Or it could be a vitamin. So you need to be, very, very, very cognizant about this. There are two kind of like conversion windows, on Facebook. Two major ones is a 28-day conversion window, in which I click on it, and then within 28 days I convert. And then there's another called the 7-day conversion window. This is advanced but very essential. So if like you think your products are impulse purchases, I would say anything under $30 or £30, then you want a 7-day conversion window. You also need to look back at whether they're vitamins, painkillers, or candies. The longer your conversion window, the more you expect them to take their time, and you need to set that up on Facebook. It's really important, and your funnel needs to be aware of that. In terms of how long you drive traffic. So let's talk about funnels and wrap this up. So the first funnel I'm going to talk about is the painkiller funnel for painkillers. So painkillers are almost instantaneous. So top of the funnel, on the left, you want to start out with a paid post engagement campaign, or a video campaign, which would be a video, which would be a demo of your product. Videos are the key. Videos are the key with Facebook. Notice that when people share stuff on Facebook, they share videos, they share links, they would share their thoughts. But videos stand out on Facebook, so you want to lead with the video. You need to build out your top of the funnel with the video. If you look at the row on the bottom, the next row, it's the ad set. You want to go detailed targeting. Remember we talked about the flexing, flex targeting. And if like you're new to Facebook, upload your email list of your customers to Facebook. If you've got 1,000 customers, that's just super perfect, because you could get going pretty quickly to getting highly targeted, customers. You also want to look at, your ad creative obviously will be a video demo or an image ad. Images are fallback plan, in my opinion. But videos, if you can get 1 million people to view your video, what you want to do is spoon people who've spent 10 seconds or more, depending on the length of the video, or 50% who watched half of the video, and siphon them into the next stage in the funnel, which is the mid funnel. And then you could change the objective of the campaign to a conversions campaign. Now, with a conversions campaign, you still need to use the video, or you could use a carousel ad if you've got loads of products in your catalog. The key metrics you want to look at here, in level 2 or in the mid funnel, you want to look at the click-through rates. If the click-through rates from your ad to your website is 1.5 or less, you probably have a problem with your creative, or your copy. And then you really want to minimize CPC. I managed to reduce CPC from 75 cents on one occasion to 15 to 20, basically, off the back of changing the ad type, from a video, surprisingly, to carousel. But it may not necessarily work. You need to test. Basically, the objective of the mid funnel is to drive traffic to your site. So the kinds of campaign objectives you want to set should be very, very traffic oriented. You don't necessarily want to go for the sale now, unless if the people there are highly targeted. It's a mid funnel. At the end of the day, you want to drive them to your site so your pixel is maturing and is seasoning. Okay. Now, at the bottom of the funnel, as I said, you want to use your dynamic product ad campaigns. The dynamic product ad will pretty much involve you using traffic to your website and serving people on Facebook, a catalog of products, a stream of products they've viewed on your website, they've engaged with on their website. A lot of your sales will come from your dynamic product ad campaigns. So you want to set these in tangents. So if you're just starting out, you're going to have to run. You need to run with this. Hit 1,000. Once you've hit 1,000, 10-second views or 50 second views, 50% of video views, you can move them. You could set up your mid funnel. Once you've hit another 1,000, you could set up your bottom of the funnel. If you already have this, you could set them up in tandem. Okay. This is painkiller. This is for a painkiller. So this is like, if you're trying to get a conversion window of 7 days. Now, painkillers, as I said, could be, they're essentials. They're things that solve, aches and pains now. So if I'm setting up an office, I need office chairs right away. So if you get detailed targeting, this is why detailed targeting is super important. If you're targeting, business owners who've just moved, or business owners who've just moved, it could be a powerful audience to target, or startup business owners. So this is a summary of what I just said. Top of the funnel, you want your video. You want to lead with a video or a slideshow ad. With page post ads, you're trying to build social proof. That's the key thing, social proof. Step 2, you're trying to build links, clicks through to your website with your carousel. Step 3, you're trying to make that sale. You're trying to close up the sale with dynamic product ads. Step 4, for retention, you could serve them offers, ads, carousels, and boosted post. This is funnel number 2, which I've used. I devised this. It's for a painkiller, but if you notice the middle, there's a 5 to 6 step email sequence, and that's because we're not leading necessarily with a video, where we're using a lead gen, ad here. So on Facebook, you could also create lead gen ads. We could also create a link click campaign to drive traffic to a landing page. You still need to run your page post campaigns because you need social proof. I have included it here. So top of the funnel, you're trying to generate leads, right? People react to the leads. You drive traffic through to your landing page, or you drive traffic through to the Facebook chat box. So you could use the messenger, on here. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to download a guide. Say you are selling flooring, and you wanted people to get a lookbook, or you wanted people to know how to floor, how to, say you're selling tiles, or you're selling, wooden floors. You're sending them a guide, around, your your what you sell. So these are like lead magnets. And then, off the back of building out that database, you can then move them mid funnel or even bottom of the funnel. They could actually skip the mid funnel. So what could actually reside in the mid funnel could be an email sequence, right? In which you build your list and then you wrap up basically, off the back of a PPE, you could wrap up off the back of a paid post, campaign. If you have like a catalog of products, you could wrap up, with the product catalog ad or even carousel ad. But I would say the best thing at this stage in the bottom of the funnel really would be a page post campaign with either a video or an image, which is trying to get them to buy. One thing you could do is cajole them with an offer. This is a vitamin where it's not necessarily essential. So I'm thinking like a trendy fashion brand here. So this is like pure art here. You start out with your paid post, engagement campaign on the left, video views, you show slideshow of the kind of things, styles you sell. You target, you do very detailed targeting, based on the demographic info you have. Don't go too specific, but, make sure you're targeted anyway. One thing about your audiences is you want to look at audiences of between 400,000 and 1.5 million, especially if you're in the US. If you're in the UK, you could go 300,000 to about a million anyway. So you really want to go really detailed. You don't want to narrow things down, but you want to go precise, right? Then you could also upload your email, lookalike. You want to exclude purchases and website visits. And then you want to go like, for your video demo of your product, video demo, an image ad. And that just drives in the awareness of your brand. You push that with a lot of social proof. You need social proof at this, point at the top of the funnel. Mid funnel, I would, love to use, video views again in the mid funnel. You definitely also want to consider using, carousels. Carousels work a treat, and mid funnel, you're trying to get traffic through to your website. I'll test, the carousels and the video ads side by side, see what works. Whichever gets a high click-through rate. So the click-through rate, your targeting is 1.5 and above, and you want very low clicks. So you're driving as much traffic as possible. But remember, your targeting has to be on point, or else you're driving, waste. You're driving really cheap traffic that's not necessarily going to be effective. Bottom of the funnel, what you want to do is you want to use dynamic product ads and carousel ads again to loop them back into finally buying, convincing them into finally buying. So that's what you really want to look at. You want to look at conversion rate, general conversion rate from Facebook ads of 1 to 3%. Plus 3 would be great. It's tough, and then CTR of 3% and above. Finally, I want to talk about this advanced, funnel. So this looks simple, but it's quite advanced in the sense that it's based on creating a campaign focused on website conversions. But within website conversions, you're not necessarily optimizing for purchase initially. You're optimizing initially at the top of the funnel for view content, so for page views. Once you've recorded 500 to 1,000, view content events, you create a lookalike audience. You create a new funnel. Now, in that funnel, you then focus on add to carts. You change the objective to add to carts, but only based on the base audience of the 500 to 1,000, view content events. You change your creative at the mid funnel, very targeted, because those people already know about, your content, about your products. And then last stage is the bottom of the funnel, where you base it on 500 to 1,000, add to cart events, people who've added to cart, and then you focus it on the purchase. Now you could lead that bottom of the funnel with an offer, or you could lead it with more detailed, info. You need to cajole them. So mid funnel, so your top of the funnel actually is driving traffic. This time you're trying to drive traffic straight. The bottom, behind all this, you could duplicate that, ad as a paid post, engagement campaign, which means you're trying to get likes, comments, and shares on the background in a view to driving content. So that could work side by side at the bottom, at the background. Okay, so that's about it, and I think we've hit exactly 45 minutes. So I have about 15 minutes, 5-10 minutes for questions. Thank you so much. And if you need a Facebook funnel set up for your store, just hook me up in my email, respond to any of the emails I've sent you to book a strategy call. Okay, I'm gonna just turn this off and see if you guys have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? I know I went through quite a lot. Thank you for your time also. Does anybody have any questions? Let me see. No questions? Okay, so if you need help with with funnels, let me know. I'll just hang out for another few seconds. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, just send me an email, kunle@2xecommerce.com. I'll be very, very happy to help. Funnels are the key, on Facebook. And, thank you so much for your time.